just put the boat in again. Gus, I can now see why you love the Kimberley so much now, out here, seeing it for myself. What made you pick the Kimberleys out of anywhere in Australia?
It all started a long time ago, probably about when I was 8 or 9 years old, and we all had heroes growing up, whether they be our fathers or Superman or the Incredible Hulk. My hero was the $6 Million Man. Old Mr. Steve Austin. Had a great big poster of him in my bedroom and all that, and this bloke, he was my hero. What he couldn't do just wasn't worth doing, eh? And then one day, two of my siblings sat me down and gave me the bad news that Steve Austin was actually fake. He was not real. So I lost a hero that day. Never really followed any more heroes until I was about 18 and I was in New South Wales staying in a caravan park. I went into the rec room and the TV was on. I sat down and started watching it, and there was a big tall bearded bloke with a dog, and he had an aluminium 6-metre boat, 60 trailcraft. And he was going through what he called the horizontal waterfalls with his dog. That bloke, from that day on, became my hero, and still is, and that's the late Malcolm Douglas. If it wasn't for him and his adventures up in these Kimberleys, there is no way I would even come up here. He is the king of the Kimberley, no doubt. That's what I call him, the king of the Kimberley. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us now. But yeah, I'm not really like trying to follow in his footsteps, but I definitely follow in his country that he released to us through his adventures. Good on you, Malcolm. Thanks, mate.
None of you, mate.
A few people have asked. So we've just travelled just over 2,000 kilometres all the way from Perth up to Broome, and we've filled up, got an bit extra food, and we've headed up the Cape to the Beak Road. And unfortunately we've got halfway there and the rangers have pulled us over, and it's just a small fire blocking the road. So they've told us it's about a 4 or 5 hour wait. So we sort of just pulled over there and had lunch, and then all of a sudden Kev just yelled out, "Get the drone!"
We've come across these red-tailed cockatoos, have you seen? And big flock of them. So while we're waiting, Gus, get the drone out.
Oh yeah, mate, that was just awesome. I've been wanting to sort of chase black cockatoos with the drone for a while. Obviously being very careful, we don't want to hurt any birds, but the footage, I think, is just awesome to see. So while we were filming those black cockatoos with the drone, we could just see in the distance a couple of old scrub bulls sitting out there. So Kev suggested, wouldn't it be great
if we could send the drone up and get some actual footage of it? And while we do send it on out there, they didn't like it. They kicked up a stink.
Yeah, Kev, it wasn't that funny just watching the two of them. Old mate there, the real scrub bull on the right, he kicked up a fuss, and then the drone got a bit close and he just smashed that rock. He grabbed a rock with his horns and just smashed it, pushed it around on the ground. It stirred him right up. And then it was funny to watch him once he got out in the open. And then all of a sudden he just got up to the scrub and turned and had a go at his old mate there. Looked like he wanted to have a fight, but he backed off because that big old Brahma, he was way bigger than the scrub boy.
So we've just done about 8 hours. We've just left Cape Leveque and we've come into this creek system, and first time being up here, and obviously the sun was getting lower, but the rocks on how red they were, and obviously the blue water is, yeah, it was absolutely gobsmacking. While we're up there, obviously as you can see, old mate there, that was the biggest crocodile I've seen up close, and we actually slept the night in that creek, and you could actually hear him and see him. So I didn't sleep much that night, and yeah, it was my first night, and old Gus, he slept like a baby, but yeah, I actually sweated all night and didn't get much sleep. But the scenery and the view, like as you can see coming out into the open, it's just like magic, paradise. That really opened my eyes up on how beautiful this country is.
Just found a beach for the night. We're actually going to call this one Kev's Island, because he's got that little fish there, and there is wood on here, which is a damn good thing, because we're going to have a campfire and we'll fry up that blue nose salmon. So yeah, this will be our little place for the night. Let's have a look.
We got wood.
Base camp, you reckon, Kev? We'll be alright.
Maybe we might drop fuel off.
There's heaps of... Oh yeah, heaps of wood. So we've got the anchor a fair way up, good 10 metres up, and holding Nunya there for a while. We'll wait till the tide drops and we'll tie her up properly. So just before we make camp, let's grab the drone and we'll just fly it around this little island. But we just had a look over there, and it looks like there's some sort of maybe water hole. Who knows? We're just going to have a look around anyway, save us walking through the scrub. Sorry. I can go up to Kev's fish on at the moment.
Hoping for a sincere performance, but open to finding the moment, to finding out where I'm headed now. Looking for a sign of disaster, so I can make it there faster. I'm weighing the consequences out. I can see in all directions. It's all open to interpretation, but I see colors that are breaking from the other side, the other side. When I make mountains out of summer trails, when I buckle under all the details, I'll keep going till I make it to the other side,
So I've just tied up Nunya from the anchor and from the arse end of the boat, tied her up to a big log up there. So that should hold her for the night. We'll end up sleeping on her anyway, because I reckon the next high tide should come up to about, I don't know whether you can see that ball that's there, that float, white float. It's just, so Kev's out there fishing already. He's stoked, mate. He's I don't know if you can see him. It's just, I'll try and point to him. Just about there on the rocks. He's having a bit of fun. He just spotted a big school of fish going through, so he's out there. Meanwhile, I've tied up Nunya. Got the anchor tied up and got the arse end all tied up right up to that log up there. So tonight we'll light a little fire and then I'll cook that fish up. So it should be all good here. Beautiful little spot. Another reason we chose here with the fire, we just over there where the sun will go down, so it'll be a beautiful little wet sunset for us. So absolutely, this is a Kimberley's at its best, mate. It really is. So I did it right. Got a few garfish, so a bit of live bait. Garfish or whatever they are, they look like garfish. But yeah, just get about 3 or 4 in there, I think it was. Awesome. Hey Kev, throw us the bucket, mate. Bucket? Yeah, mate. Thank you. Ah. So not too bad for the first cast. I got about 4 of them all up. So yeah, good bit of bait. Now that Nunya's beached, with the tide going out, it's a good time for me to go around and just check everything, make sure that everything's where it should be. And there's definitely no damage on the old girl. I mainly want to check the transducer. She's a new one, and I was a bit worried about how low it was positioned. So it's all right. I saw it there before, but yeah, we're sort of tied out now. She should be all right. Bungs are good. Let's have a look at that transducer. Oh yeah, sitting there probably. Yeah, if I was stuck in mud, she might be knocked, but yeah. Bungs are just covered. But yeah, that's all good. Happy with that. So you can probably see Nunya beached on the sand there behind me. Last night we waited for high tide, put her out in the water there far enough so when the low tide comes out we've still got flotation. So we did that. And we were just sitting there and we heard this clicking noise, and then there's also residue on the hull that I'm not overly keen on. It's also on the stainless steel prop, so it could be a short out somewhere in the wiring system. So instead of risking it, we've brought Nunya back in last night while the high tide was there. We've beached her, as you can see behind me. And we've pretty much spent all day going through. We rang Kev's brother, who's electrician, plus he mucks around with, does welding with aluminium, so he'd be a good one to ask. And he said straight away there'll be there'd be an electrical short somewhere. So I spent half a day looking. I found 2 shorts that possibly could have been the problem. So we've cleaned up all the residue on the prop and all that. So yeah, we're just going to wait for high tide. We've got about 2 more hours looking at the water, and we decided to stay here for about 24 hours and just keep an eye on the residue. If it comes back from what Kev has cleaned up, then we're just going to bolt, hightail it. If we stay at good speed, we can get to say the car within 4 hours from here, 4 to 5 maybe, depending on the tides, how rough it is across the King Sound. A little bit disappointing because we were out here for a few weeks, and just coming up to Kimberley's is to us it's just like a trip of a lifetime. Every time I come up here, it's just beautiful. So yeah, but our life is more important than the boat, so we'll see what happens. We're just going to put it back together now and wait for the tide, like I said, and then yeah, 24 hours from now we'll make a decision. So while I disconnected all the power, we just grabbed the little generator. You can see it there behind me. That's just keeping the fridges cold. I just hope that we can fix it, because it'd be beautiful to stay out here, but we're not going to risk our lives. If we find that residue again, and whether that's the build up of that bad stuff on the boat, yeah, we'll just head out, just bolt, go home. So what we thinking it might be is because of the current that we didn't know about hitting the aluminium, and then it goes into the salt water and it creates that electrolysis. So there, that's the build-up that we believe it is. It's not salt. It looks like salt, but when you touch it, it's very sort of acidy. So yeah, it's a big concern. But like I just said, we're just going to wait and see what happens. So even though we found a couple of shorts, but it's not guaranteed that that's the problem. So everything that's gone on new to Nunya in the last couple of 3 months, or since the last trip really, because this the boat worked a treat last time. So anything, including the electric winch, I'm going to disconnect everything and go back old school sort of thing. I did keep the old rope for the old original winch just as a backup, so Kev's here just winding up the winch, and then we'll put the old rope back on, and yeah, like I said, we're just deleting what could be the problem. So just before the tides come in, we've done just on that winch, but Kev just tightened up the bungs and realised that this middle one was still leaking. It looked like it was, but he put his finger right under and there's a little tiny hole there, so that's why we've got water in the hole. So I'm just trying to do this knead it stuff at the moment, sort of in a bit of a worry because the tide's 40 minutes now. But the knead it's not quite sticking. They say it's the aqua type, but it's not quite sticking because it's too much water. I've used it before and it's been excellent. About 40 minutes to dry. Probably pushing it a bit. Kev and I we are concerned because that hole that Kev found. Like I said, we got 40 minutes to try and get that kneaded stuff to dry. I like to leave it about 24 hours, which is a lot longer than 40 minutes. So we've got that problem. We've also got the wires shorted out and caused all that stuff. So what's your thoughts on that, Kev, because you found all that?
Well, we've only got a couple of options. So obviously the wiring problem, shorting out the electrolysis could be the main concern, but yeah, we can either take the risk and head out to Montgomery Reef where we really wanted to actually do film, but out there's nothing, so
no help. Anyways, like you said, there's nothing out there. We're here. We're 4 hours away from the car, like I said before. So we're just going to do the 24 hours. We decided, Kev, just hang around, and then if that stuff comes back on the boat where you cleaned, we're going to hightail it, trip over.
I just don't think we have any other option.
No.
It's my second time up here, but this is the furthest I've been. It's a life of an opportunity that I've got given, and just little things like this is just put a hold to it. But it's, what do you do?
Definitely. We're more important than Nanya. So for the next 24 hours, like we said, we'd just monitor Nunya's progress and see whether we got rid of this short out. We're pretty confident that we did, but we're still worried about the hull. So we left the island that we were on and went back to the coast and found this awesome little river. On the map it showed it was only 300 metres long, but it actually went for 3.5k, and at the end was a nice waterfall. Beautiful little creek system. Absolutely love to come back to this little area. But yeah, once Nunya's all good for the two. After Kev and I made the decision to head back to shore with Nunya, the seas got quite rough on the way back, especially across the King Sound. We decided to anchor in a little island there just in the bay, just for a couple of hours while the change of tide happened. But what a beautiful little island this was. Kev enjoyed a bit of fishing, and I got off onto the island and just had a good look around, and at that time the tide was coming out, so yeah, it was good good dronage and good bit of filming.
I can see in all directions. It's all open to interpretation, but I see colors that are breaking from the other side, the other side. When I make mountains out of summer trails, when I buckle under all the details, I'll keep going till I make it to the other side, the other side. Can you tell me the secret of how you can take it or leave it?
So just an update with Nunya. We did find a couple of wires that were touching the hull that were shorting her out and causing that bubble effect. So we've put her on the trailer and we've driven up to Kununurra, 1,100 kilometres up the road. But halfway up we stopped for the night and bumped into a boat builder and marine mechanic. Very helpful guys. They overlooked Nunya for us and they said, yeah, it was a good thing that you took her out of the water so soon. You did actually save her. So that was a good thing. At the moment it's just superficial sort of scratches on the hull which can be cleared up. So we've taken her to, right now we're in Lake Kununurra, so we're just going to spend a couple of days really going through it with the fresh water and get the motor a good flush too. Disappointing that we had to cancel the coastal trip up to Montgomery Reef. I've been really waiting for so long to get up there, but look, we're in Lake Kununurra. We're about to spend a couple of days here.